Hello, everybody, and welcome to Check It Out, the monthly show about what's going on at the Bethel Park Public Library. I'm Mary Mullen.
I'm Elaine Volpe.
And we're here today to talk about what's going on in February, right?
That's right.
We've been sort of away. We've been on a little hiatus for a while, have we not?
We took a little bit longer of a holiday break.
Well, and there was sort of a reason for that. There is sort of an explanation for that. We were waiting for something. And actually, we were waiting for someone. And that was the young man named Samuel James Cable, who is, and that's a shout out to our director, Dave Cable, whose son was born. Sorry, Dave, I can't remember now. But
not too long ago.
Not too long ago.
A week or so ago, right?
And we couldn't tape because we kept waiting for the baby to be born.
Yep.
And Dave took some time off to be with his lovely wife, Nora. So we want to offer our congratulations to both of them.
Congratulations. He's a beautiful baby boy.
Yeah, we get to see lots of pictures. And the interesting thing, Dave and I were talking about it, I said, now it's so very different than when my son was born. There's so many documentation, so to speak. There's so many pictures taken. He was showing us pictures of the baby in the delivery room. And I always remember when I had my son, my husband was in with me, but I didn't recognize him because he had the mask and the gown on, and I didn't quite. There were a lot of people bustling around. I was sort of occupied at the moment, and this nice man kept patting me on the hand, and I thought, what a nice doctor this is. So it turned out to be my husband after all. So
they don't have to wear the gowns and the masks like that anymore. I mean, at least they didn't when I delivered. So a lot has changed.
A lot has changed. But what hasn't changed is that we got good things happening this month at the library.
Absolutely.
But before we talk about that,
No. Go ahead.
Before we talk about what's coming up in February, I thought, even though it is the end of January, it's not too late to make some New Year's resolutions. Right? There's always time to make resolutions, and I brought along some resolutions for readers for this year. And I think they give people some good ideas, things to think about. First of all, I will reread a book I loved as a child.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. And
I like that.
I remember when I was growing up, my favorite book was Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. And I did reread it frequently as a child, but I have never reread it as an adult.
That's the time. I loved Anne of Green Gables.
And also another good one, which I didn't read until I was an adult,
really?
Interestingly enough. So,
yeah, there's a lot of good ones out there to be reread.
Yeah, so if there's a book out there that you sort of near and dear to your heart from when you were a kid, pull it out again. See if you enjoy it just as much as you did then. Here's a good one. I will finally read that classic from high school that I have been avoiding. Moby Dick. I always think I should be reading Moby Dick.
I never did. I got the Cliff Notes on that one. So there you go. That's one that I have to get on.
And there is a new book out by an author named Nathaniel Philbrick, and I can't think of the title, but it is about the importance of reading Moby Dick. Brand new book. So that may be one. If you haven't read Moby Dick, maybe you ought to read the book why you should read Moby Dick first. And also, I'll point out, next month, on February 7th, we will be celebrating the 200th anniversary of the birthday of Charles Dickens, which we know in our house because Chucky D is what I call him. Sorry, but he is my husband's favorite author. And we even have a little Charles Dickens action figure. And in our house, he does have an action figure, and of course he is an author.
Turned him into a rapper though, Chucky D.
Chucky D, I know.
That's funny.
But and of course Dickens has endured for a very long period of time.
He has.
And I read something interesting today. The year he was born, which was 1812, 66 novels were published in England, which is not a lot of
not compared to today.
Compared to today. But by the time, at the turn of the century, in 1900, there were an average of almost 900 novels published in England every year. Wow. And it really was as a result of the popularity of Charles Dickens' writing. So there's a little story that, he came to the United States in the 1840s, and there's a story, his books were serialized. Okay, so they were, a chapter was put out in right. something, people read it, and they had to wait for the next chapter.
Right.
And in one of his stories, one of the characters apparently was very sick and dying. And supposedly when he came up, he landed on shore, the first question out of everybody's mouth is, "Little Nell still alive?" Because they had been reading this story in chapters, and they did not know the fate of Little Nell. So
interesting.
Okay, let's see what else we have. I'll find a book of poetry and read some aloud, which I think both you and I can recommend. I like poetry.
I love poetry.
I do too, but not everybody's first choice.
No.
But reading it aloud makes a big difference, and hearing it read to you makes really a big difference in understanding and I think in appreciating a poem. Here's a good one. I'll spend an hour in aimless browsing at a library.
Yay! Yay. February is National Lovers Month. Library Lovers Month.
Right.
Right? So that would be a great time to stop in the library and
just
browse
wander.
the aisles.
Just wander. You never know what treasures you'll find. I'll read a book written in the year I was born. All right. Now, I looked around. I decided to go with the decades.
Okay, what did you come up with?
Well, in the 50s, which unfortunately is when I was born, Lord of the Flies, East of Eden, and Lolita. None of these books I have read, certainly, and appear on classic books to read. I have never read Lord of the Flies.
So. I remember reading that in 10th grade.
Did you read it? And 70s, Watership Down. Did you read Watership Down?
No.
All right, that was a popular book in the 70s, and that was one of my favorites.
Oh, there you go. So that's one I have to read then. I was born in the 1970s.
Okay. I'll create a journal and keep notes about the books and magazines I read, something I don't do and often wish I had.
Me too.
I used to write down the books I've read, but I stopped doing that, and now it's not a good thing. So, keep a record. Keep a record, and there are now websites where you can do it online.
There is, and I started one, but although I'm not faithful with keeping up with it, but Goodreads.com, there's a bunch out there, but that's a really good idea.
I was going to say,
you don't necessarily have to review them. You can just put the book on there and that you've read it and maybe rate it 5 stars. You don't necessarily have to review it. That's a really good idea. It's nice to have that as a reference. So if you have to go recommend a book to somebody, or if you want to go back and reread a book, you have that on file.
Okay. I will assemble a list of my favorite people and send them my ideas about books. Favorite recent reads and the like. Yes, it is. And I think very often we learn about books by word of mouth. And that's been my experience here. Somebody will tell me about a book that they like, and then I think, well, no, I can think of somebody else that might like that same kind of book, and I pass it on. And sometimes it's very interesting to see what books a lot of people enjoy. I have not read any of the Girl with the Dragon Tooth. Tattoo.
Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Okay. Any of that series of books by Stieg Larsson. I have not read any of them. I have a couple of them at home to read. I have yet to meet anybody that doesn't.
Who did not like it.
Who did not like it. And yet the people that are reading it, I would have recommended that book to them. I pass it on to somebody and they'll say, I'm not sure you're going to like this. And they go, I love this book. And I look at that person and I think, and they will admit that it was not a book that they would normally pick up and read, but they loved it. So it's word of mouth is good. Spread the word. I'll read a book to a child. Well, you would recommend that.
Easy. Absolutely.
Dave, I hope you're reading to Sam.
Because it's never too early to start. No. That's a good point, Mary.
I read to my son from the day he came home from the hospital. And my husband thought I was a little crazy. But
it's not.
But I did. I would sit in a rocking chair, and it wasn't always easy because sometimes
it's not just beneficial to the child, to the baby, but doesn't that just relax you and warm your. I mean, it's bonding. It's special bonding time.
Yes, it is. And in fact, we bought a chair a little later on when my son was older that was big enough for the two of us to sit together in the chair. I still have that chair, and there's still room in there for somebody else. Somebody else. But you're right. It is so important. It is. It is a great way of bonding with your child. I'll gather a few friends and read a play out loud.
That could be fun. Kind of like a reader's theater
like
type thing.
Reader's theater. I'll read a book on the history of my town. By chance.
Oh, there you go.
Here we go.
Did you bring it?
I did bring it. For the we haven't shown this book for a while, but this is a history of Bethel Park from a series called Images of America, and it's mostly photographs of your community. And so we have this for sale here at the library. It's about $23.53, some kind of number like this. But it's also in the system. You don't have to buy the book. It's available for you to borrow from your library. So if you want to look at if you have lived in Bethel Park for a long time and you want to look back at some old photographs from years ago, you might enjoy this book. I will read a book written from a political point of view totally opposite my own. Now, all I had to do was go to the new bookshelves, and I found two. First of all, we've got Bill Clinton, Back to Work, which is why we need a smart government for a strong economy, and then Mr. Clinton's adversary, I guess you could think of when he was in office, was Newt Gingrich, A Nation Like No Other. So that's a really simple resolution that you can follow up on. Plenty of books out there to be read. And especially this year is an election year.
Right.
You want to learn as much as you can about the candidates. I'll read a book about a place I've never been. You have a place you always
intriguing.
Yeah, it could be interesting. Some place you've always wanted to go to, and maybe you won't ever get there, but you can read about it. I will reread a book I didn't get when I was 18.
That's a good one too.
That's a good one. I have to think about that one for. I still haven't come up with a title of one that I've read.
Not off the top of my head.
Not off the top of my head, but I'm sure I could come up with one if I thought about it a little bit more. I will read a book written by a non-American. Also, I think that's a very good recommendation. You get a different perspective on life in another part of the world if you read it, if it's written by somebody that actually lives there. And you can also I find interesting when authors from other places write about America. So it's interesting to see our country and our culture through the eyes of somebody that is not a resident, not a native. And finally, I will ask a librarian to show me some print and online resources for readers, and that's something we always enjoy doing.
That's what we do. Yeah.
That's what we do all the time. So there's some resolutions for readers, and maybe if you those were good, and maybe if you just pick one for this year, and if you do, you might want to give us a little feedback. Let us know about your experience. I'd like to hear about somebody rereading a book they read years ago. So, all right, Miss Elaine, how about if you tell us what's happening in the children's department?
So, like I said, it's National Library Lovers Month, and we talked last year on the show. I remember this. How quickly time goes. We talked about ways to love your library, right? And I just want to reiterate one of those. The best way you could love your library is to stop in and take part in a program or try something new out. So the good news is all of our programming is starting back up this month. And I just want to briefly go over our regular story times that will be starting the second week in February. We have Book Babies that actually is the only one that goes year round. Thursdays at 10 o'clock, and that's for babies birth to 18 months with their caregiver. We do a lot of singing and finger plays, and then we do a shared reading at the end. The next story time is Mother Goose, which is for your 18-month to 2.5-year-old. That's Wednesdays mornings at 10 or 11. Again, a lot of singing and finger plays, and then also a book or two with a very, very easy short craft at the end. Then the next step up is toddler story time for your 2.5 to 3.5-year-old. That's held on Tuesdays again at 10 or 11. More reading in that one. A couple more stories are introduced and a little bit more involved craft. And then on Fridays we have our preschool story time for your 3.5 to 5-year-old child. Those sessions are at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. For all of those programs, there's no registration necessary. You just drop in, come on by. Monday mornings, we're kind of switching it up a little bit. We have a new program called Once Upon a Monday, where the kids are going to come in, listen to a story, watch the story come to life on video, and then make a related craft. So that's taking the place of Super Kids, but it's at the same time. It's 10 o'clock Monday mornings. After that, we'll have our ever popular Giggle and Wiggle program, and that's for kids 2 to 6 years old with their parent or caregiver. It's fun for them to participate too. We expect parent participation. So I think that's all of our regular story timing. Spanish on Fridays at 12. We'll start back up. And then I just wanted to highlight some of the new ones that we'll be doing. Sweet Treat. What day do you think we're doing this?
February 14th?
That's right, Tuesday, February 14th, Valentine's Day. Calling all cupcake creators. You can come to the library and design your own cupcake. And what better day to do it than on Valentine's Day?
Now, are you going to have real cupcakes?
Oh, absolutely.
And they're
Come on, Mary, you're talking to me. Of course we're going to have real food. Real cupcakes.
Real cupcakes.
But they will be blank. They will be unfrosted.
Okay.
And you guys get to come and frost and decorate.
Oh, boy.
We have some fondant that we're going to work with and some, the traditional sprinkles and whatnot.
Yeah, that'll be.
You can choose to give it away to a special Valentine or to keep it and eat it for yourself.
All right.
We all know what I would do. What would you? Would you take yours home to your hubby?
I probably would.
Yeah.
Because he does have a few.
Sweet tooth?
He has several, actually. He does
Sounds
have
like me.
more than one. More than one. All right.
So
that
that
does
is
sound like
sweet
fun.
treat. Yeah.
I just got hungry when you mentioned that.
I
Okay.
know, it is lunchtime.
Let's talk faster.
So that'll be taking place at 7 o'clock on Valentine's Day, right upstairs in the children's department. That is for any child kindergarten through 5th grade. Okay? Then we have Have Fun You Will, or Have Fun You Will. Sometimes I can do my Yoda voice. That was pathetic. Do you know who Yoda is, Mary?
Oh, well, I do know who
Have
Yoda
Fun You
is.
Will. We're going to be making, there's a book out by Tom Engelberger, a really popular book, especially among boys, although I enjoyed it too. One's called Origami Yoda, and one's called Darth Paper. And I believe there's another one coming out.
Paper, I love that one.
Paper, right.
Okay.
So if you've read the book, or even if you haven't read the book, you can come to the Have Fun You Will program on Tuesday, February 21st at 7 p.m. And after you talk about the book a little bit, you will get to make an Origami Yoda to take home. We did this one on the fly. Miss Lynn is our origami expert.
Yes.
She did this one very quickly. Yours will probably be a little more detailed. His body's a little bit longer than it should be.
But the ears are.
But I crinkled the ears.
The
I don't
ears
know if you
are
can get a
perfect.
close up on that.
The ears are great.
But we will provide the green origami paper, and we will teach you how to fold these. So Origami Yoda and Darth Paper. Fun program. I'll have to practice my Yoda voice, though, for next time. Then, so Star Wars has always been popular, right? I mean,
Yes.
I remember, like, my brothers having the dolls and me doing my hair like Princess Leia when I was little. And then I remember my son Robert being really into it. There was a phase when he was all about Star Wars. So I think that's just, like, an ever, like, it's just a...
Crosses generations.
Yes. So, really popular. But you know what else is popular these days? I don't know if you've ever heard of Pokemon.
I have heard of Pokemon.
And Pikachu, and I don't know all of the other ones. I'm hoping the kids of Bethel Park will teach me. They can come out on Saturday, February 25th at 1 p.m., and we're going to have a Pokemon party. So, I know a little bit, but I expect to be educated more on the subject. But we have lots of games planned and prizes, and it'll be a fun time. So, Pokemon party on Saturday, February 25th. I think there's one or two more that I just wanted to mention. Oh, Donuts with Dad is going to run the whole month of February on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. We did this program a couple years ago, and we're just trying it again. I think it's a fun program, just a drop-on-by kind of thing. You grab some breakfast and do a fun activity with Dad. Sometimes we'll share a story. Sometimes it's a game. The activities will vary. But each Saturday in February at 10 o'clock.
With donuts.
I know, right? That's a no-brainer. Donuts at the library. Of course you're going to come. Bark for Books will also start Sundays in February. And we're only going to have this program if we get people to register. So I urge you to register. You can't just show up, only so we can let the dog handlers know whether or not to come. We don't want to waste their time, of course. So if you are interested in Bark for Books, go ahead and give us a call. But we are hoping to schedule it each Sunday in February.
And this is where a child reads
The
to
dog therapy
reads to-
program. These dogs are trained therapist dogs. A child of any age can sit there and read, and it's really, dogs make great listeners. We've talked
they
about
do.
this before.
Right.
It eases the child. They don't feel any pressure. It relaxes the child, and it's fun for them. They think it's really cool. Of course it is, to read to an animal. So, that's what Bark for Books is all about. And then Wednesdays in February at 7 o'clock, Miss Dawn's going to teach a cartooning class. Very excited about this because my son Robert loves to cartoon. There's some classes here and there, but I haven't really found any good classes that run consistently, at least in the South Hills. So when Miss Dawn suggested cartooning, I was very excited. But again, we only have 3 or 4 people on the list, so call and register for that one. You don't have to be an expert cartoonist. If you just like to draw or you would like to learn more about cartooning, stop on by. Wednesdays at 7 o'clock. Okay? Teens, we have a lot of cool stuff going on for you, but mostly later in the spring. Although Wednesday, February 29th at 6 o'clock, we're having a teen council meeting. We don't really have a teen council yet. I'm hoping to establish a teen council. So any tween or teen out there, so that means if you're in 5th grade or on up, if you have suggestions or ideas to how to make the library better, teen programs that we can offer, like programs that you would actually love to come to. Tell us. We want to know. So if you come on Wednesday, we'll provide pizza and pop, and we will listen. We want to hear.
On Leap Year Day, right?
That is Leap Year Day. That's right. I forgot about that.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, we have a lot of great teen programs that we've had huge success with, and then others that we thought would be really popular, and then were kind of a flop. So you guys have to let us know what you want.
Their input is important to know what kinds of programs that they would like to see you do here at the library.
Right. So we hope you come on Wednesday, February 29th.
Okay.
Over to you.
Okay, sounds great. All right. Coming up in February, actually Wednesday, February the 1st at 2 p.m., if you are a job hunter and you feel you need to do a little work on your resume, we'll be having a class on resume help using Microsoft Word. So you need to have a completed resume and have a little experience using Microsoft Word. And we're going to work with you to help you edit and reformat your resume. Nowadays, almost all job hunting is really online, and they don't want paper resumes anymore. So they'll also show you how to upload your resume to a website or attach it to an email, which is often a way that you get that resume to the company that you would like to work for. So that is Wednesday, February the 1st at 2 p.m. And the seating for that program is limited, so you do need to register in advance. On the next day, February 2nd, which is a Thursday at 7 o'clock, we're going to be doing a movie screening, and I believe this is a repeat of a program we did in the fall. And this is a screening of a documentary called 9,000 Needles, which is kind of a scary kind of title for most of us, but it's actually a documentary about alternative medicine, and particularly Chinese medicine. And Chinese herbalist Ellen Una will be here that evening also to talk about the differences between Chinese medicine and Western medicine, and how using ancient Chinese medicine can be an effective way of helping you with your health problems. So again, that's 9,000 Needles, Thursday, February the 2nd at 7 o'clock. Our conversation salon will meet Friday, February the 3rd at 10 o'clock. And just a little reminder, if you like to talk about things, about what's going on in the world, come join we have a lovely little group that meets on the first Friday of each month at 10 o'clock. They just sit in the lounge area in front of the fireplace and chat away and
share opinions.
So it's a great way to meet. It's a great way of meeting new people too. New people. On February 7th, Taxing Tuesdays begin again here at the library. This is about our 4th or 5th year of the AARP Tax Aid Service. And just a reminder, this is a program for low and middle income, and also with a special emphasis on older adults over the age of 60. It's tax help, tax preparation. It's from 10 to 2 p.m., 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. But it is first come, first serve. We do not have any appointments. And sometimes people like to come very early on Tuesday mornings. I've come at about 7 o'clock and found people waiting. So I don't like to encourage you to come quite so early, but I will tell you that if you come before 9 o'clock, you will receive a number. and you will wait outside until you're in the building. We have chairs set up in the hallway for you to sit and be comfortable, and then at 9 o'clock you come in and sign in using the number that you have received. So if you are there at 7 o'clock and you're the first one there, I give you, well, you may have to wait for me because I may not be there at 7 o'clock.
That's pretty early.
That's pretty early, but you will receive a number, and then you will be taken in the order of your number. So, and that service is going to, again, Tuesdays, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It will run from February 7th to April 10th. And just a little reminder, the tax deadline has been extended a little bit, again, like last year. So I think the deadline for filing is April 17th and not April 15th. So you have a little extra time this year. Always a good thing. First-time homebuyer program, that will be Thursday, February 16th at 7 o'clock. And that's presented by Todd Stainbrook of AJM Mortgages. So if you're looking to buy a home for the first time this year, you might want to come and learn all about how you're going to finance this. And see what else we've got coming up in February. I'm going to move my papers here. Okay. Then actually, I'm kind of giving a little preview of two programs very early in March, because I know people are already thinking about spring. And they're thinking about spring because we really haven't had much winter yet.
We haven't. A couple iffy days in January, but overall quite mild. And I'm not complaining about that.
No one is complaining. I guess I'm a bit of a pessimist. I keep waiting for it to arrive, but people keep thinking spring's around the corner, which we hope it may well be. But we have a program on Thursday, March the 1st at 7 o'clock, how to keep your lawn green while staying green. And I think this is certainly a topic that's of interest to many people, how to have a wonderful, beautiful green lawn all summer long, but without using a lot of chemicals on it. And this is going to be presented by a Bethel Park resident. His name is Bob Ernst, and he's the president of Eco-Friendly Lawnscapers. And he's going to come and talk about how to keep your lawn in great shape without using too much excessive pollution and fertilizers on your lawn. So that's Thursday, March the 1st at 7 o'clock. And finally, one more program early in March. This one sounds wonderful to me. European River Cruises. This is going to be
from Marilla, who actually presented last night as well.
Yes, she was here and talked about the Caribbean. We'll be back in March to talk about a European river cruise. And are you celebrating an anniversary or birthday, or you're just or a vacation that you've always wanted to do? And I know my husband and I watch a lot of PBS shows, and they have been running a series of advertisements about European river cruises. And I look at those. I've never been really interested in going on a cruise, but I have to say, when they show me these pictures of people floating on the Danube, I'm like, oh, because the ships are smaller. And they're not so overwhelming like the big cruise ships. And then, of course, you're on the river, and you get to see all the sites, landmarks, famous landmarks and everything. It looks absolutely wonderful. So that's Wednesday, March the 7th at 7 o'clock. So even if you're not actually going, it might be a lot of fun just to learn about cruising in Europe.
And Marilla Salvo is a great lady. I know her personally just because she brings her son to the children's side for a lot of programs, but she's also very, very knowledgeable. So if you are considering it, she's the gal you want to talk to.
Okay, great. Okay. And of course, for the rest of the month, all of our regular programming, computer classes. I know people may have found a computer underneath their Christmas tree. And I understand from Rob that our computer classes have been very busy, very busy. If you would like to take one of our computer classes, just give us a call, and we'll give you some dates and times, or at least get your name on a waiting list. I know Rob said it's been busy.
He's filling up.
He's filling up very quickly. But we have the basic internet, email, introduction to computer classes. So, and it's never too late to learn.
That's right.
That's right. Pinochle Club will meet the second and fourth Fridays. Scrabble Club, first and third Tuesdays. Our writers group meets the second Wednesday of the month. Second Tuesday. Second Tuesday at 7 o'clock. That's our Pittsburgh South writers group. Our book groups will be meeting all month long. Button Club will be here. And our knitting group meets Wednesday evening. So as always, we have lots of things going on every week. And I certainly hope that you will try at least the one resolution of the
Yes.
1 hour of aimless browsing
Yes.
in the library. Come and visit us, come and chat and sit down and enjoy everything the library has to offer. So, and you can always check, as always, you can find out what's going on in the library by looking on our website, right? And we have a new website. Do we,
We
not?
do. That's up and running.
We have a
Yes.
new website that's up and running, but as always, there's a little calendar, daily calendar right in the center of the website that tells you what programs are going on and what time. So all you have to do is check to see. And so to get more information about anything going on at the Bethel Park Library, you can,
Visit that new website.
right? You can click on the
We're
website.
switching it up a little
That's
bit.
okay. You can
Or you could give us a call.
give us a call, or better yet,
Come on in and see us in person.
come on and see, as you say, in person.
person.
We'll be back next month. Thank you, and we'll see you then.
We'll see you then.